What's happening? Big Shay reporting for duty, welcoming you back to another episode of the Yellow Cafe Podcast. And this morning, what we want to speak on is the subject of eugenics, Planned Parenthood. And I just want to bring y'all into the history of a lot of things that are taking place. See, what we fail to realize is that a lot of things that we are arguing about nowadays, especially in politics and amongst each other, these are seeds that have been planted a long time ago to insert confusion into our communities, into our nation, into our belief systems. And there are a lot of evil people that have been involved in implementing some practices into our government, into our school systems, into our hospitals. And you have people that have strictly worked hand to hand with Satanists, Zionists, all type of antichrist movements in order to do things that we were not told to do as creations. Now, some of this stuff is going to get really deep. I don't know if any of you know this woman. This is Margaret Sanger. She's pretty much referred to and known as the mother of Planned Parenthood. And I just want you to take a look at what's being said from a Christian point of view. Like I said, you can only agree or understand with what I'm saying and my points of view if you have a Christian background, if you have a Christian belief, or if you want to begin to adapt a Christian belief system. If you don't believe in the Bible, if you don't believe in Jesus Christ, then some things that I may say may not seem like wisdom to you. It may seem like foolishness. The wisdom of God is foolishness to man and vice versa. But I at least want to give you a chance to hear where these things are coming from. So just take a listen.
Planned Parenthood Federation maintains that European women should stop having babies.
Let me get it from the beginning.
Mrs. Margaret Slee, president of America's Planned Parenthood Federation, maintains that European women should stop having babies for the next 10 years.
But Mrs. Slee, in this country, having babies is the...
So this woman was promoting the idea that women back then should stop having babies for the next 10 years. This sounds like the type of stuff that happens in China or Japan or something, you know?
Text. Do you think we really ought to stop?
Well, I suppose a subject like that is really so personal that it's entirely up to the parents to decide. But from my view, I believe that there should be no more babies.
Now look at the way that she's just look at the way that she panned away from talking to him and looked at the camera to say what she was saying, as if she was just trying to look into the hearts and souls of Americans and put this deep down into their subconscious. She said that the choice should be left up to the parents to decide, but yet they are going out of their way to create this propaganda to persuade you otherwise.
The term eugenics is basically a set of beliefs and practices that aim to improve the genetic quality of a human population. Historically, by excluding people and groups judged...
Now look at this. Way back, like, I don't know what year this is. I have to look it up. I'm sorry, but you could tell this looks like 30s, 40s, you know what I'm saying? 20s, 30s, 40s. Look at this, though. This cutout that they have. First off, look at how we have been treating women for the longest to just make them out to be pieces of meat. To say, hey, you all come and walk up. If you fit into this mold right here, then you are the picture perfect woman. You have the picture perfect body. If you don't fit into this mold, well, leave, be depressed about yourself, and wish that you were someone else. You get what I'm saying? This has been going on. So the proper woman should have had a calf of 13, a thigh of 21, hips of 36, waist of 25. Come on, man. And these are skinny women. This is the shape, the cutout for a skinny woman. So for the longest, everyone was trying to fit this mold of being a skinny woman. Now we know, obviously, that there's been a shift towards more thicker and rounder women. So now everyone wants to fit a different mold. But look at this. You see these European women fighting to fit this mold, and just what's so crazy for the subconscious is years later, you're going to see black women struggling to fit the same mold of looking like European women. Like, all of this stuff comes from sick individuals who do not have Christianity and decency and normalcy in mind. Look at this. Look how this reminds me of those 20v1s where they just bring out one dude and bring out 20 women and let him just look through these women like pieces of candy or just toy objects or whatever it is. It's like you're just objectifying these women for their bodies. Look at this. If you don't fit into this cutout, then you're not fine, or you're not sexy, or whatever it is that they're trying to determine. This is crazy though. Look at this.
To be inferior and promoting those judged to be superior. There have been various applications of eugenics.
So she's the
perhaps the
perfect
most
woman, huh?
famous being the Germans before and during World War II, which was condemned by the Nuremberg war crimes trials. But the Germans did not invent eugenics. In fact, they were inspired by the founder of the taxpayer-funded Planned Parenthood. The truth behind the genesis of that organization and its founder are much darker than most Americans realize. Who was the real Margaret Sanger? Why was she heralded by the Third Reich as the greatest socialist in America?
So you're telling me that the works that this woman did was praised by Adolf Hitler and the Nazis. So you already know what side of the spectrum this work is being completed on. It isn't God's work.
Why do modern Democrats who claim to support the African American population justify presenting her as a cultural icon?
And,
Hello,
and now
I'm
look, this is not to, I'm not about to do Democrat, Republican. This is not the point of this. I don't care about what side you're on. If this woman just so happens to land on one side or the other, so be it. But neither side am I going to sit here and promote. You know good and well, I don't agree with either side. So it just so happens she falls on the side of the Democrats, or that's the side that praises her to this day, which we already know the Democrats are involved in a lot of anti-Christ activity. That's where all your homosexuality lies, in the Democratic Party. That's where all of your transgender and funny, weird type stuff, all of that lies with your Democrats. All of your anti-Christ, anti-creation type of behavior, all of that lies on your Democratic side. Like, you have a lot of your hatred and racism that lies on the Republican side. But all of your odd, weird things that you never thought that you would see in your lifetime in terms of people doing strange things, that comes from the Democratic side. They just want to be a little too, way too free. You understand?
Alan Heaton, a veteran of the United States Army and Marine Corps, former history professor, book author, and welcome to this episode of Forgotten History. Margaret Sanger was born on September 14, 1879 in Corning, New York. She is an icon to left-wing groups due to her founding of Planned Parenthood in October 1916 with her sister Ethel Byrne and Fanny Mendel,
so I told you it's like
which
the 20s.
was the first birth control clinic in Brownsville, Brooklyn, New York. 9 days later, the police raided the clinic and arrested all the people involved for promoting birth control, which was illegal.
So see, you have to go back to find a lot of the old ways in some things. Because see, there's a lot of rules and laws that we used to have. Obviously, there's a lot of rules and laws that we used to have that weren't godly. But there are a lot of rules and laws that we used to have that we don't have today that come from the Bible. Like the same as if a prostitute was caught committing oral sex. That was an extra type of crime. Why? Because even back then, folks knew that oral sex was wrong. I know some of y'all right now gonna hear this and be like, hold up, bro. I'm about to unsubscribe. I'm about to stop listening. I could deal with a lot of the stuff you were saying, but now you want to talk about oral sex. Yes, that comes from homosexuality. Oral sex was originated and came from homosexuality. Because what else were two women going to do together besides come up with the things that they came up with? What else were two men going to do together besides come up with the things that they came to do together? I speak about this all the time. Yes, these things may have been encountered between heterosexual relationships eventually, but it wasn't. It was introduced through homosexuality. You You understand what I'm saying? These acts were introduced through homosexuality because those are the only things that men and women could do with one another. That's why the Bible talks about the natural use of a woman being used for things that were against nature, or the natural use of a man being used for things that were against nature. What was it called when a prostitute was caught giving oral sex? Take a wild guess. Crime against nature. The same exact term that the Bible used to reference that exact act. So see, some things we've been doing for so long that we have made them normal in the world, or people in power conduct themselves in these same behaviors. So once they get in power to change these rules and these laws, they do so. Why do you think homosexuality is becoming so normalized now? Because the tops of most of your big time corporations and companies are homosexual. They don't want to be looked at as odd. They want it to be looked at as normal. Not only that, they're trying to destroy the fabrics of the families in the country. You understand? That's anti-Christ. So whether they know why they're doing these things or not, it's Satan's agenda. So yeah, they can be doing these things for their own personal pleasures, but the whole time they're carrying out a mission for Satan by trying to promote and destroy the fabrics of regular families. You understand? So what's the point I was making? Yeah, like I said, so these laws that they had way back then against birth control, against abortion, they knew back then it was wrong. So just because you're allowed to do it nowadays and people are telling you it's your choice, it's this, is that, that's not the case. Murder is still murder. I understand there are a lot of situations that are unfair. But most folks that you hear or talk about in and out the abortion clinic and this and that, or at least people you hear talking about it openly, these aren't victims of crimes. These are people who just laid down, had sex, and don't want to have children with the person who they laid down and had sex with. You can't sit here and act like every single case of someone trying to get an abortion is because they were, someone forced themselves on them, or because they had something wrong happen to them by a family member. Most of these cases are not those scenarios. So to act like, you know, it's always such a holy or righteous reasoning behind some of these abortions, that's just false. Some of it is just pure selfishness and wanting to have sexual activity, but not wanting to deal with the consequences of it. That's what most cases are. So like you say, way back in the G, there were laws against these things. Why? Because it was wrong. So don't think that just because it's legal now that you're able to do it. We see homosexual marriages being legalized. We know that's wrong. We know for a fact that's wrong. We see slavery in the Constitution still. We know that that is wrong. So just because they're allowing you to do it doesn't mean that it's right. You have to be able to go to the Word of God and see what the real true rules are. I don't know if y'all know this or not, but as much as America could want to go against a lot of Christianity and Christian rules, where do you think they get their laws from? Police that are out here trying to arrest people for murders. Who said thou shalt not kill? Police who are out here trying to arrest people for stealing. Who preaches against thievery and covetousness? The Bible. In certain cases in marriage, if you get caught cheating and now the person divorces you, but they're able to get certain things, certain privileges because you were caught in the wrong of adultery, where does that come from? The Bible says don't commit adultery. So see, we take rules from the Bible that we have been given and laws from the Bible that are given, but once we come across things that we don't like, we try to change it or alter it. Even though we know from the beginning, most of our rules and laws were lined up with the Word of God. But now, since we have technicalities and certain rules are thrown to the side, we believe it's okay to partake in some of these things because it benefits us.
Stenger refused to pay the fine and spent 30 days in jail. She didn't travel the...
And why would this woman be thrown in jail for birth control or for abortion? Because you're an accessory to murder. Whether you know it or not, whether you want to agree with it or not, you are an accessory to murder. You're like Dr. Kevorkian. Y'all remember Dr. Kevorkian years ago, who was the guy helping people commit suicide? He was the doctor helping people kill themselves. That's what you're doing. You're just doing it to children. But you are assisting them in murder. Yes, I understand. Oh, you're making it seem worse than what it is. You're making it seem, I'm not making it seem like anything. That's what it is. That's what it is. I understand there's hard choices to make. And I understand sometimes we put ourselves in these predicaments. And I understand sometimes we don't put ourselves in these predicaments. Something happens in life sometime that is out of our control. I understand these things. But that's why just patience, love, and mercy should be shown from everyone towards everyone in their situations.
Country preaching her concepts. Sanger then founded the American Birth Control League in 1921. Singer also endorsed the 1927 decision Buck v. Bell, in which...
And you know that there's some digging into this woman's history and into her past to find out why she's the way that she is. Because there's no other reason that you would be hell-bent on murder without something being wrong with you, spiritually, psychologically. There's no way that you would just say, I want to go out of the way to help women not have these children, to decrease the amount of people on this earth. There has to be something from Satan himself inspiring you to take up this mission, to take up this charge. There has to be something that's happened to this woman. There has to be pain. There has to be hurt. There has to be tragedy in this woman's life for her to take on a mission that we know could only be orchestrated and authored by Satan himself. It's not just a minor issue, a minor conversation. We're talking about murder, the origins of this murder, the origins of this whole system that we all now look at as second nature now.
The Supreme Court ruled that states could forcibly sterilize people deemed unfit without their consent and sometimes without their knowledge.
And so look, people who, and Nazi Germany did this. If you were kind of slow, if you were homosexual, if you were, they did this to a lot of black people too, but if you were weak, if you had any kind of illness, deformities, man, they were getting rid of you. They felt like you were not worth being on this earth, and that is no one's right to make that judgment. It's none of our rights to make that judgment on another human being. But people look at Nazi Germany as being so evil, which they were, but they learned a lot of stuff from us. The same devil that was in Cain killing his brother is the same devil that was in Adolf Hitler, which is the same devil that was in many Americans, which is the same devil that has been around since the beginning of time. He seeks to steal, kill, and destroy. So here they are taking it upon themselves to tell people who are eligible or not eligible to have children. And I would like to know how many children this woman had. I have a strange feeling she didn't have any. And because of that, that kind of helped feed her desire to make sure other people didn't have any. I got a real strong feeling she didn't have any children. But who are you to say, oh, this person is slow, or this person is not equal as us, they shouldn't have children, so we'll sterilize them? They do the same thing to people in the penitentiary without their consent. Yes, if we knew that some people who were insane, evil, and murderous were going to have children that were going to be just like them, would we want to stop that? Of course we would. But that's not your job. You're not God. You don't predict those things. That's not your job. You want to prevent children from coming out with the same behaviors as some of their criminal parents? Well, make the world better. Don't eliminate them children. Because you who are sitting there with the high ground talking about eliminating these children, you probably have done things to add to this system that makes these children the way that they are. So don't sit there and just say, oh, well, I'm perfect, so I made it. So these other children, they're not going to be like me. They're not going to make it. They're not going to have the mental fortitude to make it in this world. Well, who says so? You can't predict those things. But just the evil in these people and the audacity and entitlement to say that I'm a better species, a better example of the species that we're trying to promote. And if you don't look like me, then we have to eliminate you or stop you from reproducing. You must be, boy, you got yourself some nerve. What happens when I make those decisions for you? What's happening? Big Shay reporting for duty. Look, I just want to say I most definitely appreciate the views and any interactions. I've had a few people reaching out to me, sending direct messages and things like that. What I need for you to do is make sure you are subscribed, like the video, leave a comment. No matter what it is, just leave a comment. If you want the word, the message to spread, to grow, if you want to contribute and be a part of the Yellow Cafe community, just do that for me so that we could get this message spread out. Make sure you like. It takes no time. It costs you nothing. Subscribe. It costs you nothing. It takes you no time. Leave a comment for me. You understand? That's all you have to do. If you're rocking with us, you can go find the plate emoji. If you're in the Yellow Cafe podcast and you came here to eat, drop a plate emoji, drop a whatever. But just show some interaction so we could grow. Appreciate you. One.
This American law would be the major defense at Nuremberg for the Nazi defendants who were doctors practicing Sanger's methods, and many would be found not guilty as a result of this defense. In 1939, Sanger began what was called the Negro Project, alongside black leaders like W.E.B. Du Bois, Mary McLeod Bethune, and Reverend Adam Clayton Powell. This was the plan to have black doctors performing on black patients, to perpetuate the sterilization of blacks who were deemed inferior, as many black patients were suspicious of white doctors. Following upon Sanger's eugenics.
So what she's saying is that a lot of black, which I still hear this to this day, about a lot of black women not feeling comfortable while giving birth in a lot of these hospitals. Because, you know, I'm not here to promote division, racism, or anything, but I'm just telling you the truth. I hear about that a lot. I hear that, you know, there's like things going on to which black women in the hospitals don't get the same care as some European or other women when giving birth. And so here you say that a lot of black people who were suspicious of white doctors and nurses would avoid them and go to black nurses and doctors, but some of them were recruited to promote the same tactics. And it's the same way how a lot of black folks sold black folks into slavery. A lot of black folks still, to make that dollar or to raise their level of popularity or status in this country, will take sides with some European movements against their own people. That's a certain level of evil, bro. So you have these black folks coming to you because they think that they can trust you, and here you are lined up with the European doctors performing the same sterilization procedures to them that they thought they were avoiding by coming to you.
Platform, disguised as giving women access to birth control, the ABCL became Planned Parenthood Federation of America in 1942, after birth control was no longer considered illegal, at least among married couples. During this period, Sanger had critics and supporters. The supporters even today claim that she condemned abortion, arguing that it would not be needed if every woman had access to birth control.
Listen, bro, the whole point of all of this is them thinking that they can eliminate certain people who will not grow to be their quote-unquote model citizen or example of a model citizen. This is the same thing that Hitler did. If you didn't look like him, the perfect Aryan, he was eliminating you. Him, which did not even have the blue eyes and the blonde hair, which is fascinating to me. But Hitler himself did not have blonde hair or blue eyes, but wanted to eliminate anyone who did not have blonde hair and blue eyes. He wanted the master race to look just like that. That's what these people are attempting to do. Eliminate anyone who they think would not look like a strong, proud Aryan. And these are the same tactics that subconsciously you use to this day to eliminate people out of your circles of influence, out of your circles of friends, out of your spheres of influence, because they don't look a certain type of way. They don't fit a certain type of mold. We sit here and keep this way of living up on Instagram, on Facebook, and on everything else by all of our people trying to look a certain type of way and clowning anyone who doesn't look the same type of way. You're doing the same thing that this woman was doing. It's just that now people have the ability and option to change their body parts if they need to fit this mold.
Out is that Sanger only opposed abortions if that meant not producing the best, healthiest, most intelligent from Caucasian couples. For blacks, Jews, and...
You heard her, from Caucasian couples. From European couples, she wanted the best of the best. She wanted these proud Aryan children.
Brown-skinned people, as well as low IQ white people, and those with birth defects. They were not to be allowed. This was what the...
So blacks and folks with some type of any illness or mental slowness, they weren't allowed to have children. That's the same exact thing that Nazi Germany was doing. They got that from us. They got that from us. All evil that you saw propagated during World War II by the Nazi Germanies and their hatred. You can call them as evil as you want to. Just know it was birthed here first. They got that idea here. Hitler was watching us, how we segregated, how we kept people separate, how we were trying to produce the best nation possible racially. He got that from us. He looked up to us. He looked up to, what his name? Not Henry Ford. Is it Henry Ford? Yeah, Henry Ford. I was about to say Tom Ford. Henry Ford. He looked up to Henry Ford. And the assembly line. The same way Henry Ford built cars in the assembly line is the same way Hitler wanted to destroy Jews with an assembly line. Where do you think he got the idea from? Ford was making cars. Hitler wanted to use the same type of assembly line to destroy Jews. Kill them. In mass numbers. He had a huge picture of Henry Ford in his room. A huge mural, a huge painting of Henry Ford. That's how much he looked up to him. And Henry Ford gave money to the Nazi Party every year. A lot of money. See, there's so many things tied up into evil that you have to just follow the money, follow the evil, follow the people, follow the leaders. Don't follow the ideology. Follow the leaders. Follow where this stuff comes from. And you'll find a lot of those leaders had satanic beliefs, had Luciferian beliefs, had some type of agnostic beliefs, some type of Illuminati belief. You'll find the devil at the origin of all of these things that you look at as second nature today. Or you're pointing at the wrong person to blame. Where the people to blame are still operating right now under your nose.
Nazis adopted. Ironically, in 1966, Planned Parenthood began issuing its Margaret Sanger Awards annually to honor individuals of distinction in recognition of excellent...
Now this woman, it's only right that this woman right here, Hillary Clinton, would be on a picture of Planned Parenthood. I don't want to be talking about anyone like that, bro, but you have some folks with a history of evil, with a history of doing wrong, with a history of selfishness, and they always seem to just be bunched up together. Always. And it's plenty evil from these men, but you have these women who we know the devil is going to try to speak through. Why? Because they're the weaker sex. We know the devil is going to try to come through. It's always a woman that the devil comes through with these ideas. Always. It's always a woman he's going to use, just like in the Garden of Eden, to carry out his mission, to fall short of God's mission and to just get selfish and to get caught up in their own mission. It's always going to be a woman that he's going to use as a vessel to promote this craziness and to promote it to other women who are going to be persuaded by it.
And leadership in furthering reproductive health and reproductive rights. However, the organization very quietly and without any fanfare stopped this practice as Black Lives Matter rose to prominence. It would have been seen as the height of hypocrisy to have a liberal-backed domestic terror group that attacked white America connected to Sanger, a Democrat darling who wanted to exterminate blacks. In fact, the last recipient of the award listed on the web...
That's so crazy. And that's the hypocrisy and contradictions of all of this. Folks don't even know what they're believing anymore. So you're tied into people that are against, and that's the funny thing about politics. You get caught up in emotion, you go to taking sides just to find out that the side you're on has done more harm against you than the other side. And now you're like, wait, what happened? And you don't know because you're just blindly following ideas, blindly following just different rhetoric. You're just running behind something to feel like you're a part of something. You have done no research on it. You have not looked into it and don't even realize they're all the same. And here you are holding up a flag thinking that you're a part of something different.
Site is Dr. Willie Parker in 2015. Then it just quietly disappeared. Parker was an abortionist known for his contentious claims that his Christian faith influenced his work. He was accused of sexual assault in 2019, which he denied, but he still resigned from all of his professional positions in 2020. Other recipients of the Margaret Sanger Award include House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, and actresses Jane Fonda and Katharine Hepburn.
Of course.
Margaret Sanger was one of the
It just seems as though a lot of feminists will win this award. You get what I'm saying?
given an honorific title and inducted into the Ku Klux Klan, and exalted by none other than Adolf Hitler and Dr. Joe.
This woman was in the female KKK. Enough said. You know what I mean? Enough said. I just, like I said, this is not a race baiting conversation. I want you to know the truth. But I want you to know the things that you sit here and defend sometimes have an evil origin that directly goes against you. And you don't even know it. You're so busy trying to be right. You're so busy trying to sound right. You're so busy trying to take sides. You're so busy just trying to defend things by what color it is. And you're playing yourself. Because that's how slick the devil is. One of my favorite sayings is that the devil, and I want to take credit for it. I think I made this up. I like to think I made this up. But the devil will make you celebrate the same things that are destroying you. Here you are just celebrating it. My rights as a woman, my body, my rights. Yeah, okay. You just having a battery being put in your back to commit murder. That's all you're doing, committing murder. Because we have no knowledge of what's going on. No knowledge whatsoever of the origin of things, where things come from. We just go with the flow. And here it is. This woman is a whole KK. The woman who has you wanting to support birth control, abortion, and everything is a whole Ku Klux Klan member. Shame on you. That's good for you. That's good for you. For just operating off of hate. Operating off of jealousy, operating off of just wanting to seem like something you're not, operating off of a feeling of no one's gonna tell me what to do. You've been fooled into supporting the same folks that destroy you. How ironic and funny is that? Good for you. Shame on you. You deserve that. Because you operated off hate. You thought you were hurting someone else by running your mouth, supporting this person. You ain't going to tell me what to do, And it's the same for men. I'm not just talking about the women. There's some men who, out of hatred, are supporting certain things. Like, I can't tell you how many of my men go and run to Islam. Go and run to be a Muslim. Because I'm going to fight against the white man. I'm going to fight against, and don't even understand that the Muslim slave trade against Africans was 4 times as long and horrendous as the European slave trade. You know, the one in which your own people sold you to the Europeans? Yeah, the Arabs had a slave trade that lasted for 1,200 years against Africa. Go look that up. No, the only one you're ever taught about is the one that only lasted 300 years, 4 times shorter than what the Arabs did to you. And it's so funny how the devil will make you celebrate the same thing that is destroying you. So what's the first thing many of our black brothers go and do when they get in trouble or they want to be a part of something? They run to Islam. Just not understanding the Arabs have done more against you in terms of racism than the European man has. Now, I'm not telling you to go hate Arabs. I'm not telling you to go hate the mother. I'm just telling you have some common sense and stop going run and be a part of something before you do any type of research about it. My people go run and involve themselves. My people go and run. Oh, you got to excuse me. I just had one of the truck drivers just ran up on me and started talking to me about some football. So I got totally off track, y'all. I just got totally off track. I'm sorry. I was trying to remember where I was at. But I just do know, I think the last thing I was saying was just how we are fooled into following things that destroy us. Like, do your research. Learn the Bible first. If we learn the Bible, then we can learn and see the different rules that are being carried out in the earth that are not godly, that are not for us or of us. You get what I'm saying? So, like I said, I'm not trying to do this to spark off racial kind of, look, the devil doesn't care what color you are. He just wants to destroy you. You feel me? Now, he may use different colors and different things to blind you into anger and hatred, but he doesn't care. Trust me, he doesn't care. Because he has sense enough to know that we're all just creations of God that he hates. We're the ones sitting there labeling each other as this color, that color, this, that. Like, dude, we're all going through the same things, bro. Mostly the same things. But my point in this was, things that are going on in your government, in your country, study these things. Research these things. See where they originated from. See who originated these things. See who is behind these things. Anytime you have someone like Adolf Hitler and Joseph Goebbels celebrating and praising these people, 10 times out of 10, it's not something that's good or righteous. You get what I'm saying? So just open your eyes up to things, man. Just start studying different things that are affecting us. That way you can begin to make sense for the Bible. How many of you know that if you're a Christian, it is our job and our duty to make the Bible be true? What do I mean by that? It's our job and our duty to show in the world how the Bible is proven every day. How the Bible is proven by different prophecies, by different things that are being fulfilled, by different warnings. Like, it's our job to point this out to the world and say, look how true this Bible is. Look how this book is alive. You feel me? We have to be able to tie the Bible into the world to show people how the Bible is still relevant and on point, dead on target to this day. I don't care what age we get into. We could be the year 4000. The Bible says that not one jot or tittle of this word will change until the whole world is destroyed. The world will be destroyed before the word is. So what does that tell you? The word and his instructions are not changing. We are. And we think that because we're changing, God is changing with us, understanding where we come from. Man, God doesn't understand that. The Bible says, my thoughts are not like your thoughts. My mind is not like your mind. We have to understand him to get to his understanding. We want God to dumb himself down so much to understand us and the problems and situations that we have put ourselves in. Like, imagine going to someone to help you about a situation that you put yourself in and continue to put yourself in. And they're just sitting there like, bruh, just read the instructions. And you refuse to read the instructions, but then keep crying out to that person to help you. They're going to be like, man, you're not trying to help yourself. You refuse to read the instructions. I told you the instructions are right there. Just read the instructions. You know, some of us lazy. We don't like the instructions. How many of y'all just try to, you buy like a little table or you buy a little something to put together. You don't even read the instructions. You just look at it and think you know how it's supposed to look. And before you know it, you have extra pieces and stuff just laying all over the place. Then you finally give up and say, man, where's those instructions at? That's how we are in life. A lot of us be trying to build stuff in our life on our own until we give up and just say, I don't even know where this goes. This part goes here, this part goes there. I don't even know anymore. Where's the instructions? That's the Bible. So like I said, I just wanted to lay that out there for you all and just give you something to go look into, to go study for yourself. You feel me? So I thank you for your time. I appreciate you for your time. Like the video, please. If you're listening to this whole video and you're not taking the time to like it, what are you doing with your life, bro? What are you doing with yourself? If you listen to all these videos and are not subscribed, what are you doing with your life, man? Subscribe to the channel, like the videos, drop a comment, leave a comment. Y'all comment on posts all day long that talk about some of the weirdest things, that talk about some of the most foolish things, that disrupt and destroy our community. Some of the most ignorant things. How about dropping a comment on something that you think could actually help build? You feel me? Let's get some engagement. Let's get some interactions going. Share the video. Share it with somebody. You feel me? Don't be selfish. Share it with somebody. But yeah, that's it. Like the videos. Subscribe to the channel, bro. Turn the notifications on. That way I don't have to send y'all messages about the videos you already know. You feel me? Some of y'all already know. When I drop, boom, y'all already there. I don't even have to let you know about it. Y'all subscribe, notifications. You tapped in. I appreciate that, man. I appreciate you for taking my words serious and for taking my call to action serious. So till the next time we meet, till the next time I was gonna say see y'all, but I don't really see y'all. But until the next time we meet, one.